Alright guys, in this video we're going to talk about the 4 stages of growth for a remodeling company and one of the best strategies to scale to the moon. Alright guys, so there's 4 major phases when it comes to scaling your remodeling business. You have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Now I'm going to give you the strategy that I've learned from top home service companies that are doing tens of millions of dollars per year for what their plan is, what their strategy is to scale their business. And this is exactly the same way in remodeling. Now, if you agree, disagree with anything in this video, I want to hear what you have to say. I love good discourse. I love good conversation. Comment below and we'll talk. But this is how I think is the best way to do it, right? So, phase 1 is survival. Phase 1 is all about how can I get my name out there, get my work out there, post pictures on social media, hand out thousands of business cards. You can go online, you can actually get 500 business cards for something ridiculous like under 10 bucks. I'll put the link down for where I did that. But 500 business cards for 10 bucks, that's a lot of exposure, a lot of business cards you can hand out and just start getting your name and getting your work out there. Now in this phase, you quit your job, you go start your remodeling business. It's so important to just stay in business, right? You want that revenue coming in, you want that money coming in to stay in business. Now, with that survival phase, what you want to do is just make sure that you have a constant flow of work coming in, okay? So by the end of phase 1, to successfully complete survival phase, you want to make sure that you have automated, consistent work coming in. So by the end of phase 1, you should have figured out how to have consistent leads coming in so you know there's always going to be enough work for tomorrow. Okay? Phase 2 is formulation. So phase 2 is where you start systemizing your business and you start building a sales process, you start building a marketing process, and you get it dialed in and systemized so that your team can consistently perform all the jobs that you have coming in. So your employees know how to do the jobs, your salesperson knows how to sell the jobs, and your office people know how to book the jobs, okay? So here's what's really important when you go into phase 2, okay? For survival phase, I understand you're gonna have work coming in that it might not be your ideal type of work, but a small project here and there that you feel like you need to do because you want to make money and you want to keep the cash flow coming in. That might be fine for survival phase. However, once you get into formulation phase, you have got to cut that out, and I'll tell you why. If you're still doing 10 different things, I go to so many contractor websites and it says, we specialize in exterior remodeling, siding, windows, bathrooms, kitchens, basements, decks, patios. We specialize in all these things, plus flooring, plus painting. And if you specialize in 10 different things, you're not specializing in anything, okay? So what's really important as you transition into phase 2 is to make sure that you get a consistent amount of leads coming in for one type of project, okay? So that could be for bathrooms, could be for kitchens or basements, but one type of project consistently coming in. And the reason for that is because it is so hard to train employees on how to do 10 million different things compared to just training them on how to do one specific job, or training your dispatchers how to book one specific job, training your dispatcher to be able to qualify the leads and know what types of questions to ask and have a solid understanding for one type of job is so much simpler, so much easier to do than trying to learn a million different things. But you need to get your marketing right. You need to get your marketing right so that you can consistently get that one type of job coming in, okay? So to do that, what I would recommend, this is for you that are kind of starting out, maybe you're somewhere in this area. What I'd recommend is that when you're in survival mode, I would still position yourself as, hey, I'm the bathroom guy, this is what I do bathrooms. And then if somebody else, and get bathroom jobs, as many as you can, right? But then when if somebody has a different project and you absolutely need that to stay in business, great, okay, that's fine. But as you get your marketing dialed in and you're generating leads on HomeAdvisor, Thumbtack, Facebook, YouTube, Google, you have your website set up, you have your GMB set up. As you start getting consistent work coming in for bathrooms, I would make it your priority to get your schedule so full with that and so full with the ideal projects that you want that are going to make you money, that you can start saying no to all the other little crap that's going to suck your time, suck your energy, and keep you as the business owner at the center of this giant cog, this giant wheel that is depending on you, and everything's picking at you and trying to grab your attention and making it impossible to systemize, okay? So phase 2 starts when you have a consistent flow of leads coming in for one type of project. That's when phase 2 starts. Now you can start formulating. And when I say formulating, I mean you're building a sales process. What's the best way to book leads? What's the best way to send the estimate? You know, what's the best way to qualify the leads to make sure we don't waste our time before we go out to their home? What's the best way to, maybe you set a decision call with your leads. So rather than emailing them and letting them ghost you, you set up a call where you're in the home with them and you're, you can walk them through the process and maybe they'll make a decision on the spot, right? What's the best way to, you're formulating, you're building out checklists for your bathroom jobs or your kitchen jobs. You're building out checklists of here's exactly what we need to look for on each job. Here's exactly what we need to know before starting each job. Here's how to make sure that each job goes extremely smoothly, okay? Here's how to, one of the biggest complaints I see with contractors is homeowners do not feel like they're being communicated with. I was just at a job site the other day. Great company, amazing work, beautiful new finished basement. But the one complaint that the homeowner had was, I feel like we weren't communicated with enough during the project. And that will get you 3-star reviews. That will get you 2-star reviews. So communication, if you can dial that in, then you'll get amazing reviews, right? It seems like customers care. What they care about when they leave you reviews and stuff has to do so much more with the communication and the presentation and how everything flowed in the timeline than the actual finished work, okay? Is what I see most often. So build your process for how to deliver quality work every single time. And then once you have that kind of built, you have it kind of figured out and written out a little bit. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but you have this, this baseline of here's how the client flow typically looks like. Here's some things to look out for. Now you can start hiring people to fill those positions. So you hire your laborers and you train them. Here's the checklist. Here's how to deliver a perfect bathroom remodel. You hire your, CSRs. Here's how to make sure you're qualifying leads properly. Here's how to make sure to answer the phone with a smile so that customers feel appreciated. They feel wanted. Your customers should feel wanted. They should feel like you want to do the work for them. Your salespeople, right? If you have estimators going out, your estimators are really salespeople. They shouldn't be estimators, they should be salespeople. So when your salespeople go out, whatever you call them officially in the company, they should have a process, and you're basically taking everything that you did, okay? So I'm gonna picture it this way, right? There's this big ball, okay? Or this big circle, all right? And each little piece of this circle are a function that you have in the business, okay? So one function might be marketing, another function might be sales. Another function might be, doing the actual labor, okay? So at the beginning, you're doing everything, but your goal is to start giving out pieces of that pie, right? So maybe you're still doing like marketing and sales and the books, but you have someone else that's handling the labor. You have someone else that's handling booking the leads. You have someone else that's handling, some other part of the business, right? So your workload becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and now it's small. Now you have one piece eventually, okay, and that one piece is just managing everybody else, and then eventually you give that one piece away to a general manager. Does that make sense? So this is what you have to do at the beginning, but once you complete, say, phase 1, you have a consistent amount of leads coming in, and you start formulating your process because now you know what it takes to complete a successful kitchen project and make the customer happy. Now you can start giving those little pieces of the pie to your employees so your workload becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, okay? So by the end of the formulation phase, you should be a pretty much automated business. Things are happening on their own. Leads are coming in on their own. Your salespeople are selling them on their own. You have your laborers that deliver it on their own. You have a secretary that's booking everything and making sure all your leads are tracked in your CRM and it's being entered in your accounting software and stuff like that is the end of phase 1, okay? End of phase 2 is when all that should be automated. Now, we move on to phase 3. All right, excited for phase 3? Now, phase 3 is about, oops, I took away phase 4, let me put that back here. Phase 3 is about scaling, and phase 4 is about expanding. So scale, expand. And you might say, well, what's the difference, Peter? I'll explain. Okay, so scaling is increasing what you already have. So taking all the mathematical formulas, taking all the, the process, like taking the process and procedures as if it's a mathematical formula and just saying x5, x10, x whatever. That's why it's called scaling, okay? So if you're doing, 5 bathroom remodels per month, scaling is copying that process and just spending more on your marketing to get more leads, okay? And now you're doing 10 a month, now you're doing 15 a month, now you're doing 20 a month, okay? So scaling, now that you've formulated scaling, so you formulate, it's an automated business, now you can focus on scaling. So scaling is hiring the general managers, hiring the project managers, and getting that whole thing automated. So you've gotten like the base kind of automated, but you're still kind of the GM. And now scaling is you're stepping your foot on the gas, you're increasing your revenue, but now you need managers and managers above those managers to handle, to not do the actual work, but now to manage the team that's doing the actual work, okay? So you're up kind of like 3 levels now, okay? And when you find the right GMs, the business can now not only sustain itself on the own, so by the end of phase 2, the business should be able to sustain itself on its own. By the end of phase 3, the business should be able to grow itself on its own. The problem is that a lot of people try to do phase 3 when they're in survival phase. Try to do phase 4 when they're in survival phase. I'll get to phase 4 now, okay? So phase 4 is expanding. So scaling is taking the formula and multiplying it. Expanding is adding other services, okay? So I told you not to add other services. Now I'm telling you to add other services because you already have a system that is working. You already have something where as a business owner, it doesn't matter. You can go take a month-long vacation and the business still is running and operating itself. So now you can say, all right, I have all this free time. What am I going to do with my free time? Well, now with that free time, you can add another service. So now you can add one other thing like, kitchens or bathrooms or basements, okay? And you can focus on delivering an amazing basement, experience with a customer, and now build that up from scratch and have your team and you're coordinating it and you're building that up from scratch until you systemize that whole process. And now that's systemized, okay? So now you have these 2 divisions of the business that are systemized. And you can now add a third thing. Okay, well now we do kitchens. But when you try to, it's so much easier to add one at a time when you can put all your focus and energy in that one thing because everything else in the business is running itself, than trying to launch 5 different services at the same time because you won't be able to put your energy into making all 5 things go well, then focusing on one thing and making that one thing go well. And you can focus on one thing at a time if everything, and only if, everything else is running itself, okay? So phase 4 is about expanding. Now, another way to expand, some businesses, they can become really big just in the scale phase because rather than expanding their services, they just add new locations. So they do the same thing, they do one thing really well, but they just add locations across the country doing that one thing. A really good example of a remodeling company that does that is Kitchen Tune-Up. Go look them up. So Kitchen Tune-Up, they do like lower end kitchen projects, and that's literally all they do. Kitchen Tune-Up is the name of the brand, and they have locations all across the country. I came across these guys on Facebook. Really interesting business model. So rather than expanding to doing like a million different things, they just copied it and they're duplicating their system all around the country. So survival, formulation, scaling, expanding. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that makes sense and you know where you are in this process and what you'd like to do next. A lot of you watching this video will have gotten it wrong. In fact, 95% of you will kind of be in a mixture of all 3 of these, okay? And that's okay. If you're in that position, what I would highly recommend is, first of all, getting the marketing right. Even if you have to lose money on your marketing first, just getting even if you feel like you're already booked up right now because you're too busy, because you're running around trying to do a million different things and you're still stuck running the business all by yourself, okay? Get marketing coming in for one consistent type of lead. Why? So that you can start saying no to the projects that generate the least amount of profit and take the most of your time. And you'll start to notice that shift, and you'll start to notice, okay, now things are becoming more streamlined. Have a phone call coming in, subscribe to the video, and or subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.